welcome back to another episode of Elevate with C&M Coaching. My name's Maggie. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
We are going to talk about Buy Here, Pay Here United, which is going to be in Las Vegas, and it's going to be April 30th through May 2nd. I keep thinking about May 2nd because that's the day I speak, but it actually starts on the 30th, so it's important you're there for all the days. And super affordable tickets. It's $4.99 for your first attendee, $1.99 after, and the unheard of Bellagio rate of $189 a night. So you can't miss that. Today I've got some special guests here with me to talk about it. I've got Bill Neylan. Most of you know him from TaxMax, but he's also the treasurer of Buy Here, Pay Here United. He is the president and CEO of TaxMax. And then we also have Paxton Wright here with us. He is the president of Buy Here, Pay Here United and the managing partner of Primalend. Hey guys, thanks for being here with me.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Maggie.
So tell everyone, Paxton, if you want to start, because of course we were chatting before we started recording, and you were doing a beautiful job of explaining really the structure of Buy Here, Pay Here United, why everyone should come. Also, really what's in it for the dealers. So do you just want to kind of give a brief description of how this was born and what purpose it really serves for you guys?
Sure. I think the purpose of Buy Here, Pay Here United was really just to focus on providing education and resources strictly for Buy Here, Pay Here dealers. At the time, we felt that from our customer base, from Bill's customer base, from the other 5 companies that are involved, that there was a real desire from dealers around the country just saying, hey, we want more. And where can we get that information? Where can we get these resources? And so we all got together in Sarasota, Florida, a couple of years back and sat around a table and started putting together ideas and brainstorming what is now Buy Here, Pay Here United's summit. And the summit, we kicked it off last year in Las Vegas, had an incredibly successful event, probably more so than even we anticipated. And very quickly made commitments with the Bellagio to get our event back for this year. And
that's how you got that great room rate.
That's right. and I can tell you that we have continued to be excited about our event. The response already this year, the rooms are flying off the shelf. Things are going really, really well. And so we've already made future commitments all the way through 2026
nice.
in Las Vegas. So if you're a dealer out there and you're looking for education, you're looking for best practices, you're looking to talk to other dealers and have discussions about some of the best things you can do in your business and some of the worst things you can do that you want to try to avoid, then we feel that our event, Buy Here, Pay Here United Summit, is just a great collaborative environment in which to do those things.
Yeah, I think it sounds exciting. Do you have anything that you want to add, Bill?
Yeah, along with that too is we have unique tracks and unique sessions. It's not just for the owner and not just for the salesperson. We have stuff in there for service and recon. One class I found very interesting. It's going to be issues in running a family-owned business. Mark Anderson has, I think, 3 locations. And forgive me, Mark, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3. I think he employs at least 12 of his direct and extended family. So a lot of independent dealers have their family working right there with them. And there's lots of issues that come about, as well as transitioning, into the future. So that's one of my favorite classes that's on the agenda. So I just think that we dig deeper, whether it's service, sales, underwriting, recon, there's so much to offer. And that's why we saw last year a lot of dealers brought 6, 7, and 8 of their employees. So that's why we're extending that $199 registration rate for each additional attendee, because there's value in bringing your collection staff. There's value in bringing your service staff. Underwriting. So there's so much. HR. I mean, we just dig deeper. That's all.
Well, I was just scrolling through the agenda here on my phone because some of these panels are crazy that you guys got. I mean, the first full day of sessions There's some amazing panels going here, you know, especially like achieving growth objectives in 2023. You know, you've got Luke Godwin, John Fixel in here, Dan Francis, Jennifer Harlow. Like, what a great lineup of speakers. And I love some of these panels. It's going to be super exciting to see some of these people speak. Especially I like the navigating issues in the family business. I see that here. You've got Steve Levine, Mark Anderson, Sam Brenner, and Keith Hagler. I love Sam. I'm
And
a
these are
big fan of
dealers,
Sam.
right?
Yeah.
And these are being done by dealers. They're not being done by vendors.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, Maggie, we agree with you, and I would love for, myself and Bill to be able to sit here and take credit for that, but that's our dealer advisory board, right? The value of having dealers on our advisory board, putting together the agenda, selecting the presenter, selecting, really who they value getting education from is really powerful and allows us to put together a really strong event. I would like to add one thing we haven't touched on yet, just as it relates to the agenda specifically, and that is for the first time, we are going to have a Spanish speaking only track.
Oh, really? How exciting.
If you are
breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news. I live in Dallas, Texas, and especially in the state of Texas, we all have many dealers that are Hispanic customer base focused or small family owned businesses that are mostly Spanish speaking. The customer base is mostly Spanish speaking. And we just felt that that was another kind of just void in the marketplace. Where can those dealers go? Where can they go and get the education and just feel comfortable and communicate in their native language, right? And so we're very excited about that class. Or about that track. We're going to have multiple sessions, all in Spanish.
That's amazing. I myself have experienced a little bit of a growth in that area too, because we train dealerships all over the US. And I have one Spanish speaking coach and she's like, I can't take any more. So I've gone from 1 to 3, in this short period of time, because the market has really, I feel like, been neglected partially, but also is growing in addition to some of that neglect. And I've always wondered why there isn't anything like that. And I do think that is really important to be inclusive, because the Spanish speaking community is massive in this industry, but always gets kind of pushed to the side. So that's amazing. That's great.
Well, this is breaking news on your podcast.
Yeah. Well, if you ever need my coach, she is phenomenal in Spanish. So what do you guys envision, for the future of this? Are you guys rotating your advisory board? Like, how does all of that go when you decide who you're going to pick to speak? I mean, I was lucky enough, somebody nominated me, and here, I get a chance to have a general session, and I'm grateful for that, because I love playing phone calls for people, and people really seem to enjoy listening to them as well. But, do you guys rotate through? How do you decide to keep things fresh, if you will?
So every year, so again, Paxton.
No, Bill, take it.
So every year we kind of, once the show's over, we kind of start from scratch. We obviously look what worked with the show, and then we look to nominate a whole new board, because we want a whole new perspective. The board is the one who kind of brings to light the issues that dealers are dealing with right now. And that way we don't want to regurgitate or, just bring on the same material. So these dealers on this advisory board will say, hey, look, these are the problems we're dealing with right now. And then that spurs the classes. And we can redo the nomination process and revote every year. So
nice.
So actually one thing Sean and I were talking about is we're hoping to take 2 or 3 minutes on the beginning of the show is to acknowledge the prior, I guess, alumni of our dealer advisory board. So so if you're not nominated and you're a dealer, let us know, and we'll throw you in the pot for next year.
That's great. Did you have anything you want to add, Paxton?
No, I mean, I think I think that's the power of the event is the fact of, as you pointed out, we want to keep recycling. We want to continue to keep everything fresh and new, and so by having new dealers from different geographic regions of the country, different sizes and scopes of their business. You're always getting fresh and new ideas because different dealers are facing different challenges for all of those reasons, right? Whatever their demographic may be or their size or scope. And so we try to get a very broad sampling of that as much as we can. But every year there's always somebody new and somebody different to add. And there's different vendors and suppliers for our industry every year. I assure you that we are going to do everything we can to be out on the forefront of that, so that we're not getting stale and not presenting the same things over and over.
And one thing I want to add, if
go
it's
ahead.
okay, to Paxton, Paxton kind of sparked my memory that also the dealers on the advisory board are different levels of their business cycle.
That was my next question.
Yeah, so we have some
size,
dealers
right?
who are and size. So some dealers may only be 2 or 3 years old with one location, and only one salesperson. And then some may be, well, they're 30 years old or second generation with multiple locations. So as Paxton was saying earlier, is we're trying to make sure we cover everybody, whether you're a brand new dealer, whether you have been in the business for 10 years or been in the business for 30 years. And that's why I'm really excited about that, issues working with your family, because how does that transition to second generation to third generation? And it's going to be taught by dealers who are, Sam Brenner, he's second generation. So I love talking to Sam, and he's going to provide invaluable information.
So smart.
Yes.
I don't know whose idea it was to do all of that stuff that you just said, Bill, but it is genius. I've been in this industry for 12 years, and I love working with smaller stores because you get to be super hands-on with the owners, but you also, get to go to the bar and hang out with them. And that's when sometimes they vent to people like myself that they know, and I'm a vendor, and but we also get really close with our clients, and they'll say things like, I'm really sick of XYZ always being about vendors. I'm really sick of not having enough education about areas of things that I really care about and things that I want to learn. And so for me, I found out about Buy Here, Pay Here United from David Brotherton. He called me when you guys were kind of in the birthing stages and was telling me about it and what your goals were. And that was one of the first things he says is, this isn't about the vendors. This is about the dealers. And I have not spoken to a dealer who has, not complained about the fact that they feel like sometimes some stuff is more vendor focused. And even when I work a booth, I get a booth at all of the conventions. I'm at NIADA. I've been at the Buy Here, Pay Here summits and TIADA and all the big ones. And a lot of times you can tell by the last day, no one is walking around in there, right? Because they're so sick of vendor this, vendor that, and they just get overwhelmed. And sometimes it is a little bit of overstimulation. You guys don't have an expo hall, right?
No.
Right.
So how did you guys decide that that's the way that you kind of wanted to go?
That was for us very simple, because everything you just said is exactly what we heard. That's exactly what our dealers told us. The challenges the dealers face is, that they didn't know where to go for their specific needs and problems. And we thought, well, then let's create an event that only, and that's our messaging, right? I mean, you hear us say the same thing over and over, which is solely focused on education and resources for, Buy Here, Pay Here dealers, because that's exactly what it is. It's solely focused on education and resources for them. So if it's not for them and it's not by them, we don't have it there.
One thing I want to add to that too is that a lot of our dealers had come up and asked where we were exhibiting and say, look, we want a different type of education, a different perspective. We're not knocking, other, NIDA. We're a huge supporter of the NIDA.
Yeah.
They have an exhibit hall. We're a big supporter and big sponsor for that. The exhibit hall does serve a very important purpose for new technologies. If you're a new dealer. So we're not saying don't do that. Definitely go to the NIDA because you're going to get a different perspective, a different type of feel. Where with Buy Here, Pay Here United, same thing. You're going to get a different look and feel, but it's education for dealers by dealers, and not focused on the vendors. So, for example, I spoke at our event last year, and I tried to make it very just all about income tax season, the irregular payment. And, I had only two, but I had two dealers say they came across and thought it was salesy. So what we decided to do was have, Bob Rainey said he would be willing to step up and teach my class, and other dealers, because a dealer would rather hear how to do something by a dealer in real life. This is how it's done in the trenches. So that's the angle and the focus that we want to give to dealers.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, I am a huge fan of all the conventions. I personally love meeting new people, especially vendors, because as a vendor myself, I still have holes in processes and places where, clients will come to me and be like, what do you do for this? What do you do for that? And it's great to be able to refer people. I had a dealer just the other day that was really struggling with, they're starting to help buy here, pay here customers, and they were a little bit confused about how to do it, and they want to do soft pulls. And I'm like, hey, call this guy at 700 credit. He can help you out. They start off with that kind of thing. And I think it's important for that interaction. And especially with a lot of software changes and technology changes, I do think the expo hall is important, but I feel like this is also super important because it gives them the chance to not have to worry about necessarily opening their wallet in that aspect of things, but gives them the opportunity to walk around and just talk to people, whoever might be there. And I know that you have kind of a very exclusive sort of, I don't really want to say vendor list, because I guess you guys are kind of allowing some vendors to sponsor, correct? I mean, you have to do something.
As long
And
as they bring value to the dealer,
right.
that's one of the things. It can't be anybody. It has to be a sponsor that we feel brings value to the dealer, as well as has a very good reputation. That's really important to us.
Yeah, that's great. That matters a lot. So Paxton, just briefly, why don't you tell anybody who doesn't know who you are, what you do on a day-to-day basis besides this kind of stuff?
Sure. Paxton Wright, I'm the managing partner for Primalend Capital. And we provide revolving lines of credit to the buy here, pay here dealerships. We've been in business for 16 years. We've got dealers in 28 states. And so if you're a buy here, pay here dealer out there and you're looking to grow your balance sheet, looking to grow your business, we provide lines of credit to help you grow your receivables. We provide lines of credit for your inventory as a floor plan. If you are looking to purchase or potentially transition in or out of real estate, we can help you with real estate transactions. And we also have a mergers and acquisitions arm of our company. So if you're a dealer that's thinking about succession planning, not sure what the next stages are, these are things that we're going to be talking about at the event. But if you're growth and expansion minded and want to get into a new area or a new part of town or whatever it may be, we also help dealers buy and sell dealerships.
That's amazing. That's a lot of stuff, but all really in one, area, financing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're just trying to help your business grow, and we do that through receivables lending, inventory lending, real estate lending, and helping you identify new opportunities or maybe sell the business that you have. And as a going concern, your business has much more value than what historically people have sold their buy here, pay here businesses for. It generally turns into a liquidation of assets type scenario. And we just want to help people avoid that and maximize the effort and the hard work they've put in for years and years of running their business.
Yeah, because it is like blood, sweat, and tears, and like I said before, a lot of times you're working directly with the people who physically own the business, and they can talk about all the things they've put into it and all the time and energy that they've really invested in their business.
And you don't want to just sell that away for pennies on the dollar, right?
No, especially since it is a big decision to decide to sell,
Yeah.
And I know that probably the market and the economy, have you been busier since the whole issue with inventory and things like that, and people kind of stepping away because of the inventory issues?
I don't know that anybody's busier than Bill, but Primalend has been extremely busy. Things for the company are going well. Many dealers are very growth minded. And it's that time of year as well, right? There tends to always be this cycle. Everybody's gearing up, ready now for tax season. Tax season is starting, hitting pretty firmly. Things are moving forward, and then in the summer you have a bit of a lag, and the end of the year you're starting to plan and get ready for oh, wait, I've got tax season coming up. It's September, October, November. Should I start buying cars now and getting reconditioning ready? And it's around then that dealers start thinking like, well, man, how do I get the money to do all this?
True.
And that's when our phone starts to ring off the hook a little bit. And so it makes tax time extremely busy for us because we're getting deals through the process and through the cycle of underwriting and closing at a very busy time of the year for dealers. But
yeah,
we're very lucky at Primalend to be in the position we're in.
and I've also heard dealers say like, the same car they used to pay maybe $5,000 for is now 10. And so I'm sure that has really required people to have to reach out and extend their lines of credit because you can't get the same, you could get two cars for 10 before. Now you can't.
Thankfully for the dealers, that there's been a little softening in that. But you were exactly correct. Dealers over the last, couple of years have had to make some really difficult decisions on how they're going to structure and capitalize their business if they're going to continue to grow at the same rate when the cost of inventory, the cost of overhead, everything is going up. So having the right capital partner is as essential, if not more essential today than it's ever been.
Yeah. So Bill, my man.
Yes.
I can't believe you actually had time for this today.
Yeah, as we're doing this, the IRS is releasing 80% of all the money on the street. So by the time people see this, tax season's already gone for people who aren't doing tax max or something more with planning. So
tell everybody what you do. I mean, I do feel like if you don't know who TaxMax is, you might live in a dark corner because, they are for very good reason everywhere. And they really do help people get into vehicles now. And, especially like during winter, I live in Wisconsin where it is a whopping 17 degrees today. And you can't walk anywhere here, really, unless you live in Milwaukee or Madison or a huge city. You need a car. And this is also the time of year where people tend to struggle with cash. You just had Christmas, so people are strapped and they're waiting for their tax returns. So tell everybody what you do and how you kind of help dealers.
So what we do is I'm Bill Neylan, President and CEO of TaxMax. And what we do is we basically give the dealer the ability to use a W-2 or a pay stub to put a person into a car all 365 days of the year. So we talk to dealers all the time. Oh, I used you in the 90s, or I used you 10 years ago. Things keep changing. Things keep evolving. I got a phone call 2 days ago from a really large dealer group. And one question they had for me, which I found very interesting, they say, we don't use TaxMax, but we're considering it. What disadvantage do we have when people walk in with their tax check off the street to buy a car today? And the answer is our dealers will obviously take that money off the street, sell the car, to get their negotiated down payment, but they're also estimating their 2024 tax return and scheduling in a regular payment in the schedule. So when they sell that car today, end of February 2023, in the deal structure is in a regular payment for February of 2024 and February of 2025. What that does is gives the dealer to reduce the term by up to 21%. So imagine if you're a dealer with a 50-month term, we have a solution where we can reduce your term to 39 months. That addresses the issue that Paxton was saying, is that the price of vehicles have really gone up. Well, down payments aren't going up. The price of the car is going up. So therefore, it's a math problem. So the term must go up. So we have been inundated by a record number of dealers in the last couple of months trying to sign up with us and get on board because like, oh my gosh, I talked to this dealer and his term's down 15%, 20%. Now, when you do that, so now this customer that came in and bought a car today is going to go back to the dealership in February of 2024, file their taxes with TaxMax through the dealership, and then the refund goes right to the dealer. So imagine if you sell, I'm just going to use the example of 100 cars a month, that's 1,200 cars a year. Maybe they have a penetration rate of 50%. So that's 600 cars. You get an extra $1,000 for every car that you sell every February. That's a $600,000 cash infusion for February of 2024. But that's a $1.2 million cash infusion for February of 2025. So this isn't accounting tricks. It's real money that's in the bank that Paxton would love to help pay down any money that's extended by them.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
there's tons of things. I talked to a dealer a couple weeks ago that they have a service shop, and they know that if they don't fix the car, the customer's not going to pay it, pay their payments. Either fix the car or keep the car. And they were doing repairs for free. Well, now they're doing balloon notes. They'll estimate the customer's tax return, and our system generates an agreement where basically what they're going to do is say, look, I'll fix the car, but you're going to promise to file your taxes with us and take care of this note. Now, instead of collecting 0, they're collecting 45% of these service repairs, which if you're a dealer of size, that could be $1 million. So, using us, you can increase your cash flow by $1 million here, $1 million there. It sounds really, really a high level, but it really is not that hard.
And you're helping people that need their car, to get back and forth to work, or even just in their first time financing the vehicle and purchasing the vehicle, but also the service notes. I didn't realize that you guys did that. That's really helpful for people.
Yeah, and we have our new taxes by text, where now the dealer no longer has to key anything in. They just send the customer, it takes 30 seconds, sends the customer a text message, and then we process the tax returns directly with the customer, but the money goes to the dealer. 75% of all tax returns that we filed this year were all through our taxes by text platform.
That's crazy. Did you have something to add, Paxton?
Oh, I was just going to say, Bill was saying, $1 million here, $1 million there. I think that's for all the dealers out there that, every million counts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? If you're a small dealer, then maybe that number is 50,000 or 100,000.
Sure.
Like Paxton says, every dollar really counts in this industry. And, I tip my hat to every buy here, pay here dealer that's watching, that's in the industry. They really provide a service by offering transportation to people who really cannot afford transportation. I take for granted when I need a new car, I just go out and buy one.
Yep.
So hats off to everyone in this industry that helps those customers have transportation to take care of their families and their children.
Yeah, and I know this time of year is really busy, and I'm in some of the buy here, pay here groups on Facebook, and I always see dealers chatting, and I saw it a little early this year when people are like, where's tax season? And I distinctly remember pre-pandemic, as soon as like January 31st hit, maybe even a little bit earlier, depending on the employer and what kind of people were getting back, things went crazy. And then for some reason, the pandemic definitely affected that. And it didn't feel as more of like a big boom as much as like a slow burn for a couple of months. And for us, being that we do phone training, this is always the time of year where people are like, oh, we're so busy, we got to push back. And it drives me nuts because it is $1 earned, and every phone call that you take that you waste by having it be garbage is $1 lost, really a sale lost. And especially during tax time, when you have people that you can say, we can use your tax money right now to help you get into a vehicle right now. So it's one of those things that I always, every time I think about tax time, I always think about the people who are like, oh, it's just too tough to learn something new right now, which is crazy. Don't waste those leads by being awful on the phone.
And the other thing too is that with TaxMax, it should be part of their business where it's done all 365 days of the year.
Yeah.
We're transitioning into March, but our dealers are already working on setting up deals for 2024, 2025.
Yeah.
So I get it. When you change to anything new, right? The biggest thing was CPI. Oh my God, it's something new. I don't know what to do.
What is it?
Once you do it, you do it. So same with TaxMax. Once you do it, you do it. Yes, the first 2 weeks might be weird. You're going to call us every day. We're fine with that. It's just, you just have to go out there and better your business and make every dollar count, like Paxton said.
And you did have to kind of close sort of your, accepting of new dealers. So, I mean, if people are interested in signing up for your services, they should probably start getting in touch with you soon.
Right now, yeah. Right now. They're selling cars today. Every dealer is selling cars today. You could shrink your term today by up to 21%. And usually, once again, the penetration rate's usually about 50% of people will qualify because maybe they don't have a refund or they're on fixed income.
Yeah.
Or the refund's garnished. We have ways to tell dealers in advance that this refund's going to be garnished. So don't do the deal. Just count on your normal deal structure, but don't do it as a tax max deal.
Yeah.
So,
and don't try to
once
do it on
again,
your own.
yes, we
Help
have
of a
all the
professional.
tools, all the tricks. It's really, really simple.
That's great. So Paxton, let's go back and talk about Buy Here, Pay Here United for a second. Are you going to be speaking at the event, at the summit?
I am.
What are you going to be talking about?
We're going to be talking about profitability, and really the pathway to profitability, the challenges that dealers are facing. Right now, you touched on it earlier. Cost of inventory is up. The cost, the lag time of getting parts is up. Your service techs, the cost of retaining employees is up. Your rent is up. It's just everything in the business seems to, related to inflation, related to personnel, related to servicing the accounts, related to servicing the vehicles. There's a lot of challenges out there. Probably, maybe the most significant of which is that, when the vehicles were so expensive a year and a half ago, we've seen a little bit of softening, but not a ton.
Yeah.
But now we're starting to get back to some more normalcy in terms of what we're seeing at the auctions. And what happens is, if you as a dealer are continuing to operate the same way you have in the last couple of years, let's assume for a minute that your charge-offs are not increasing. Even if your charge-offs are the same this year as they were last year, the severity of your charge-off is going to be significantly higher, because the cost of the cars that you bought, the markup that you had, when you take in a car and charge that off and take the vehicle to auction today, there's, as Bill likes to say, that's a math problem, right? There's a big gap between the two. And so we're seeing a significant rise in severity of charge-off, which is really impactful to the profitability of the business. So myself and my partner and CFO of Primalend, Gary McMahon, are going to be presenting on that subject and ways to help your business find a pathway back to profitability.
That's really important, because that is a huge problem right now, for sure. And, I always see people pour all their money into advertising. They like to dump it all in there. And then they'll be like, here's $250 for phone training, which I can do. But also, what does it cost to make your phone ring? Every time you're spending $1 to make that phone ring, what's happening into that lead turnaround time? So
For sure.
There's so many expensive things, and right now, yeah, it's definitely gotten worse. And I even saw yesterday, one of my dealer friends on Facebook posted that he had set up a bunch of interviews, and every person that was scheduled to come in was a no call, no show.
Yeah, really.
I mean, what value is there in spending $10,000 on marketing if you can't service them and you don't know how to really get them in the door, right? If you get your phone to ring and those calls are not productive or quality calls, you're not doing yourself or the business any service, and the 10 grand you spent was a waste.
Yeah, and I'm going to play some of those calls on the second. So I'm going to ask you both this question before we wrap up. So Paxton, I'll start with you. What are you most looking forward to at the summit? Or what session are you most looking forward to hearing?
Yeah, for me, what I'm most looking forward to is, this is just such a great opportunity for us to connect with so many dealers that are in our portfolio, right? As I mentioned earlier, I mean, we've got 140 some odd rooftops nationwide that we support currently, and it's very challenging to get out there and visit and see every dealer every year and so on. So many of our dealers, support us and attend this event as part of that. It's a great opportunity for Primalend to spend time with them, have conversations with them about their business, and really introduce them to other partners of Buy Here, Pay Here United, other sponsors that we have come to the event, and other dealers that we work with. Because as Bill said, dealers love to learn from other dealers. So I know our portfolio and I know the performance of the dealers. And so if I have a dealer that may be struggling in a particular area and another dealer that's performing really well in that area, I'll get the two connected, let them share ideas and strategies on ways that they can improve. And so for me, it's always a fun time and a great event. And And it's a couple of the best days of the year on my calendar as it relates to Primalend.
And the weather will be great. Like, it's the perfect time to go to
Listen,
Vegas.
for $189 a night to be at the Bellagio in Las Vegas at a perfect time of the year, great food, great entertainment, an incredible show. Our other partners of Buy Here Pay Here United. If you're a customer of Buckeye Dealership Consulting, if you're a customer of Ignite, if you're a customer of Iteron, Berkshire, big time advertising, any of these companies, we're all there. And it's a great time to come and chat with the people. We wear purple shirts at the summit, and so we're very easy to spot and easy to find. It's just there's scatterings of purple everywhere, and those are the people that are the operators of the event, and they can point you in the right direction, get you in the right room, show you where the food or the restrooms are, all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, if you're a dealer and you have a question, go up to somebody in a purple shirt, ask a question.
Purple shoes. I saw Brett was ordering himself some purple shoes.
Purple shoes. There you go.
So...
Find Buckeye Brett in purple shoes.
Yeah.
And man, I'm gonna have to step my game up, Maggie.
I know.
was not aware of that. So
I was very jealous of his shoe game. His shoe game is top notch, man.
Yeah, there you go. So it's exciting. That's what I'm looking forward to, and glad to be a part of it. Our reception that we have on Sunday night is just a great time and exciting, and really looking forward to it.
I always have a lot of fun introducing dealers I know to dealers they don't know. And that's one of my favorite things about going to them is, introducing somebody from Indiana to someone in Montana, or, someone that they may not know, but someone that they've seen speak, but they've never had a chance to meet. And I know them both. And I love that about that. And I had a chance to do that when where were we? We're at the Buy Here Pay Here United Summit. And the reception was actually sponsored by TaxMax, and it was packed in there. You couldn't even move. Bill wasn't there, but it was packed in there. And, there were so many dealers that were just walking around and networking, and I loved that aspect of it. So same question to you, Bill. What are you most looking forward to, or what are you most looking forward to hearing by speakers?
I kind of agree with Paxton with everything he said. I am obviously I love your class. I'm the one who actually nominated you to be a speaker.
Thank you.
Listen to this.
No, those phone calls were amazing. We were at Compliance Unleashed, and you played those calls, and I talked about that for months.
Yeah, the energy in the room was, everybody was vibrating. People just loved that.
So if you're a dealer and you think, oh, my people answer the phone perfectly, no. You need to listen to some of these calls. They are real, right? They're not reenacted.
Yeah, they are 100% real.
They are real, and there are lots of bleeps from both sides, right? From the customer and from the employees. So you dealers need to come out and hear this. It's entertaining, and you go, thank God that wasn't my staff member.
I'm gonna have to go through the attendee list and make sure I don't have too many clients in the room.
No, it's that's one of my favorite classes. But as I'd also mentioned, the navigating issues in a family business. A lot of my family works for me, so it's a close touch point for me, because I'm really curious to hear what some of these dealers have to say about navigating the family business. So just because this is for car dealers, there's a lot of material that's just for business people. So I'm not a car dealer, but I plan on learning, and always do learn when I go to these conferences as a business person. So I'm very excited for those classes. And like Paxton had said, I get to meet all of our dealers. Well, not all of them, but a lot of our dealers. And I like these dealers some of them are my friends. And they're very frank and very honest and say, hey, Bill, this didn't work. I'm struggling with this. And like Paxton said, I can pair them up with someone. Oh, man, you got to talk to this person because they killed it. Their penetration rate was 55%, or they cleaned up 75% of their past due accounts using TaxMax, or they made $1 million on the repair side. So there's as many people that love us and think everything's great, but there's a lot of people who struggle and thinks TaxMax doesn't work for them. And it makes me feel good when I can solve the problem, but it's being solved by another dealer, because there's just more weight in that. And maybe that's kind of what Paxton said, is there's a lot more weight in the education because it's being taught by dealers versus by vendors. Not saying what the vendors are saying is wrong. I mean, what the vendors are saying is correct. But when you have that difference and it's being taught by a dealer, people tend to listen a little bit more. You know, last year I spoke and even Rob Fox said he didn't hear a word I said. But if it's one of his dealers talking, he's probably listening a little bit more. So that's just what I like about this event. It's the whole thing. It's the education. It's the fun. It's the camaraderie, you know, solving problems. It's the food, the drink. There's no drink tickets. It's open bar. It's liquor, beer. I mean, it's good food, great food, not just good food. Every breakfast is a hot buffet. It's not a donut and a bagel. You know, so
we try to do it right.
Yeah.
For $199, I'm telling you right now, if bring all your employees, the opening reception costs us more than $199 per person. So
of course,
plus you get 4 more meals and another happy hour on top of that. So you get your money's worth.
Well, I was just going to ask you, you know, what would you say to somebody who's on the fence about attending? And then you just talked about all the wonderful perks of it. But you know, a lot of times there are people that I just talked to someone yesterday and they were like, I think I'm going to come. And I'm like, no, you need to come. Somebody who they were in a totally different industry and now they've come over to this and they're managing a dealership, a dealer group actually. And they're like, what do you think I'm going to get out of it? So Paxton, what would you say to somebody who's like, what am I going to get out of this?
I would say that we try to build an event that eliminates excuses, right? The cost can't be an excuse. A night at the Bellagio is probably as cheap as your cell phone bill.
Yeah.
You know, coming to the event and being around industry leaders, being around the most respected dealers in the country, and learning from those people. If you don't just automatically understand what value that offers and what it is that you could glean and gain from that, then you're just closed-minded. And this is an opportunity to be with many dealers from many different backgrounds, all facing different challenges in different geographical regions, who are all coming together for one purpose, and that is to learn from one another and to make each other better. And I think that our event does that. I think it does it as well, if not better, than any other event. And that's what makes us so excited and proud to be a part of it and to put this event on. And that's why we've made such a long-term, multi-year commitment to continue it as well, is because the feedback we've gotten from the people who have been there, the people that have been part of it, is just extremely overwhelmingly positive. And we think we're going to do it better this year than we did it last year. And I hope we do it better every year after that.
Perfect. Bill, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, actually, one thing I want to add too is I almost forgot too, is at the end of each day, we have a wrap-up session that's more like, I don't want to call it a free-for-all, but it's just an open forum where any dealer can stand up and ask a question. They can either ask it live on the microphone. They can, if they're too shy, they can, I believe they can use the app and actually text the question so they can be anonymous. They can write a note and slip it to someone, where they literally can ask anyone on the stage or anyone in the room saying, I have X problem and what is the best solution? And I guarantee, and it worked really well last year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We also have speakers from the NIDA will actually be participating in the event. Brent Carmichael is participating in the event, will be speaking as well. So we've got all the industry experts, all the best dealers. You know, we've got some of the worst dealers, but that's why they're there, to come and learn.
Yeah.
For those, like you said, what would we tell a dealer if they're on the fence? My recommendation is go to whatever chat forum or any 20 group they're in, pose the question, who went there last year? What did you get out of it? I don't want to be naive, but I think our survey was 98% was rated a 5 out of 5. And a lot of the comments were that they learned a lot. It saved them a lot of money. It saved them a lot of headaches. They had a good time. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a good time while learning, right? So it's the whole gamut. And I kind of like what Paxton says, that we took all the excuses out of our solution. So I just encourage people, if you're not sure, ask somebody. because I guarantee we had almost 400 attendees last year, which was quite surprising. And we're expecting hopefully over 500 attendees this year. Once again, these attendees are all dealers.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Just reach out to your Facebook groups or whatever posts and ask who went last year. What do you recommend? And I'd like to think they're all going to say you definitely have to go see in Vegas.
Yeah, and if you guys want to register, it's Buy Here, Pay Here United. It's actually BHPHUnited.com. But you can also Google Buy Here, Pay Here United, and it will totally come up for you. I've been promoting this on my podcast for the last month or so, and it was great that you guys both joined me here today. Bill, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the easiest way? Taxmax.com?
Yeah, go to taxmax.com and there's a contact us button and fill that out and we'll respond to you today. We're not going to sell you today. We're not taking any signups for this tax season. We stopped taking signups in the middle of January. We're just too overwhelmed, but we can basically start the conversation, tell you what you need to do, when to sign up and find out what your goals are. Collections, sales, down payments, irregular payments.
Perfect. Paxton, same question.
I mean, you can go to primalend.com. We have a forum there, but anybody who's interested in our products or services or just wants to have a chat about any of these topics, you can call my cell phone. It's 941-518-7564.
Perfect. Hey, you guys, thank you so much. I know I took up an hour of your time, but we had a lot of stuff to unpack. So I really appreciate you both being here today. And I guess I will see you all in like 2 months?
I can't wait to hear your calls. I really can't.
I know. I'm so excited. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you so much to Bill and Paxton for joining us here on this episode of Elevate with C&M Coaching. Hope you guys learned a little bit more about Buy Here, Pay Here United and why you should definitely be there. I look forward to seeing you all in Las Vegas. Don't forget, April 30th through May 2nd. And you can go to BHPHUnited.com to get registered. I'll see you all there. Thank you so much. Have a great day.